Hello. Look at this here. How beautiful. I love these yellow brooms because I have one like that in my backyard. And it is also blooming. So I'm coming here today at this particular spot because here you have all these wonderful blooming yellow brooms. Do you see that? How beautiful that is. Yeah. And for me, this blooming of this yellow broom, which was, by the way, also a favorite. Oh, look at that. I see a little frog here. Look at that. You see these little frogs? You see that little frog? Here. There's tiny, tiny little frogs. Oh, they're all over the place. There's all these tiny little frogs jumping around here. I have to be careful not to step on them. Look at that. Here, there's another one. Anyway, that yellow broom also reminds me of my dear mother who recently passed away. And we used to have a yellow broom in front of our house, you know, where I grew up. Oh man, look at that. Such beautiful, and it smells so nice. It smells it smells really pungent, like a thick, sweet smell. Oh, it's so delicious. Oh my gosh, look at that. Yeah, and there's another little fellow there. There's all these little frogs all over the place. Look at that. I guess they just came out. And look at that. They're all. Here's another one. Yeah. Here they go. Yeah. Look at that. There's many little froggies. Oh man, it's so gorgeous out here. Yeah. What a smell. Oh man, so good. Hi. Oh, look at that. There's many of them here. Oh my goodness. The whole place is full of little frogs. They're in the water. Yeah. Isn't that great? You know, as a kid, I used to try to catch frogs, and there were still little. Ooh, man, there's just so many frogs out here today. That's unbelievable. You know, there were still fields in my neighborhood where I grew up, and with puddles, and we would just, you know, always get our feet wet. And my parents would always be angry with me because I again had soaked my feet in the water. But I couldn't resist the temptation of going there because it's just such fun to hang out with the frogs and with the salamanders. You know, salamanders also. There was also salamanders. Here, this is a kind of like this is a creek also, but at the moment there's no. It is sort of standing still because it only fills up during the rain, and then water gushes through it. But I believe they also divert the water at another spot. That's why it is no longer in use, basically, only for overflow of water. Yeah. So, yeah. Today I wanted to address once more again. I have nothing better to do. This is what I do. I like to address my enlightenment, and actually I also do this a little bit inspired by my dear friend Annemiek, who also spoke so directly about her enlightenment. And Oh my goodness, I have to be so careful. There are so many little frogs on the path here. It's just amazing. My dear Dutch friend Annemiek, who has also just on her videos on Luisterend Spreken, she has spoken so beautifully about how enjoyable it is to listen to your own sound and to feel how your language just emerges from your sound. Yeah, your embodied language, it just emerges by itself from your own sound. And yeah, everybody can do it and nobody does it. Isn't that amazing? Everybody can actually be enlightened if they would just do what we do. Let your language, your embodied language, be expressed. Enjoyed. Let it be known. Let it be heard. And then you're full of bliss, you're full of gratefulness, you're full of love, you're full of knowledge also, knowledge about yourself, because this is how you acquire self-knowledge, real self-knowledge, which is based on the language which is embodied, which is created by the sound of your well-being. Oh wow, there's so many of these beautiful bushes here. I just love to walk here today. I feel so lucky that I can walk here today in between these beautiful bushes. Ooh. You know, in these little pools where the water is still standing still for a while, these places are the perfect places for, you know, frog eggs to hatch, you know. These little tadpoles. Yeah. Oh man. I said yesterday on my video that everything just keeps on getting better and better, and it really does. Yeah, I mean, who could say that? Who do you hear? Yeah, people claim that. People make all kinds of claims. You know, people, I don't know, they say all sorts of things, but they're not real. They're not truthful. They're just pretentious. When I tell you that with your embodied language, things just keep on getting better. They just keep on getting better. Look, there's the creek. I'm now on a path which is a little bit away from the creek, but it's also really pretty up here. There's some land here, some farmland where they have cows. And what's also so peculiar is that the embodied language, in terms of what it means, I have written about it, I've spoken about it since I discovered this, you know, in my early 20s. Here, look how beautiful all these yellow brooms. There are so many of them here. It's a glorious day to walk here because you only get to see this for a short while, because these blooming brooms, yellow brooms, they only bloom for a short while, and then we have to wait till next year again. But today is the perfect day to walk here and to just really hone in on that. Look how beautiful this is. Oh my goodness. What a great sight, huh? And all of this is related. I like that also what Annemiek says. You know, all of this is related to nature, to the beauty of flowers, the beauty of animals, the beauty of the sky. Yeah, it's a beautiful day today, beautiful sunny day, and we've just had some more rain last week, but it appears that now we are heading for a very warm period where the weather is going to be very hot, you know. And this is how it is here in Chico, that during this time of the year, all of a sudden the heat just slams us. All of a sudden we're slammed by the heat. Yeah, and many people, they can't stand that because it gets really, really hot. But I am looking forward to it. I'm ready for it. And oh, this is so gorgeous. Wow. So as I was saying, the meaning of embodied language, it is elaborated on every time. It is deepening every time. It is becoming more and more, you could say, clear, more and more pronounced. And I just love that it just keeps on becoming clearer. It keeps on becoming more enjoyable. And oh, look at this little froggy. He's just taking his first little step, just like a little baby. Just look at him. And they are all over the place here. There are so many of them. Oh, look at that. You can just see them all over the place. Do you see it? Oh my gosh. It's like, almost like a miracle, that there is so many frogs today. I mean, I have been here before, but I've never seen that many frogs at one time. Yeah, I love to be here because usually there's nobody here, and so you can be by yourself and just enjoy some solitude. And as I have my own embodied language, I thoroughly enjoy being alone. Yeah. There were times in my life that I dreaded being alone, that I feared being alone, that I hated being alone. But at this time of my life, I feel so grateful that I can be alone. I feel so thoroughly fulfilled. Here, this is where I am. And you hear that bird, you know. I have not much to say. And as Annemiek also, and yeah, I would believe anyone, you know, but it is so beautiful that I can hear that also in Annemiek, that, you know, Annemiek also has these moments where she feels really quiet, and then she sort of allows herself to go into that silence and enjoy That silence, let the silence have its say. Let the silence have its say. So hilarious. Yeah, but that's really what it is. With embodied language, your silence has something to tell you. You better listen up. Otherwise you miss the best part. And so then you become quiet, and then you become silent, and you enjoy it so much that all of a sudden, out of the silence, all of a sudden you get a whole waterfall of words about whatever, you know. Oh, it's so enjoyable. And it's so enjoyable to feel this kind of movement of your language. That the language can bring you into silence, and it can also take you out of the silence into all this talking. Yeah, and it is of course also true, it can also bring you again into noxious verbal behavior, or what I used to call it noxious verbal behavior, I now call it disembodied language. Oh gosh, yeah. So then, you know, when you have that, it happens, you know. It is just something that has to do with the human condition. We have been conditioned to have disembodied language, and we were never reinforced for having this kind of conversation, for having this kind of language. And yeah, you could only be reinforced for this conversation, for this embodied language that I have now, if you were together with another person who also has embodied language. So, you know, my effort, all the effort that I put into letting other people know about this, yeah, it was always about that I needed them to reinforce me. I needed them to know about this, in spite of the fact that, yeah, it has given me a lot of hardship. Once you try to let other people know about this, you will find out that people just don't want to know about it. It's weird how that is, but you do need to try to let other people know about it, because this is how you get reinforced. And to the extent that other people understand you, and to the extent that you have been successful in telling them how it is, and not explaining but sharing with them, just like I do right now, like this is how embodied language is. Yeah. And yeah, and of course you need to be with someone who has embodied language, so that your embodied language can be reinforced. And so, yeah, it still baffles me how I was able to continue with it, in spite of the fact that everybody keeps denying it, or everybody keeps, I don't know, nobody wants to consider it, that this is important, that this is possible, that this is necessary. I mean, look at where we are. Look at where we are with our communication, yeah? And it doesn't matter, you know. I'm not trying to put anybody down, or I'm not trying to criticize anybody or so, but you just be honest with yourself. Be honest with what is happening. We are not having embodied language. We are continuously having disembodied language. And so there is nobody out there who can reinforce your embodied language like I do, or like I can, or like Annemieke can, because we are both knowing about this. We have reinforced each other, and we have become enlightened together, in the sense that we have celebrated our embodied language so much together that we are both capable of making videos like these, you know, where we just talk from our language enlightenment, which is nothing else but our ongoing embodied language. Yeah. And so I'm going to close my eyes for a little bit, and then I will be talking with my eyes closed. There is a possibility with our language that we haven't used yet, that we are only going to be able to use. We're only going to be able to have access to it if we tune into our sound while we speak. And this tuning into our own sound, this listening to ourselves while we speak, is actually experiencing what we are experiencing. And expressing what we are experiencing in such a way that our experience, it broadens, it widens, it creates space. And a very interesting phenomenon occurs. Each of us has certain tensions, certain anxieties, certain stresses. And initially, when you have embodied language, you engage in a process of giving attention with your language and with your sound to whatever asks your attention. So whatever is in your attention, whether you hear something, you feel something, you see something, you remember something, you can express that, you can listen to that. And as you do that, your embodied language will begin to continue. Then, at some point, there's nothing anymore that asks your attention, because your language, your embodied language, keeps broadening your experience. It's a beautiful phenomenon. And the tensions that you might have felt, and the tensions that may be still there somewhere in your body, in your shoulders, in your belly, in your eyes, in your cheeks, in your mouth, the muscles of your mouth. We hold tension in our body. That happens. That is a habit that we have had to do that. Some of us have compensated so much with our body that our body becomes crooked, or our face becomes crooked, or we are totally out of balance. But when you have ongoing embodied language, you are no longer going with your attention to any of the spots that in your body asks your attention. No, you are actually experiencing everything that is in other parts of your body. And because your attention can go there to all these other parts of your body, also in your experience, there is tension in your experience, but yet you are not going with your attention to these tense aspects of your experience anymore, because you have already done that. You have done that many, many times. Now you are capable of letting the attention go to other experiences where there is no tension. You can let your attention go to other parts of your body where there is no tension. And lo and behold, the part of your body where there was tension, it begins to loosen up. And the same is true for your experiences. There are certain experiences which you have expressed, you have talked with yourself about, and you have, you have talked about your sadness, you've talked about your frustration, you've talked about your your distraction or your jealousy or anything negative. But now, as you have become capable of continuing with your embodied language, you don't need to give any attention to these types of experiences anymore, because your attention can go to other things, and you let your attention go to these other things. And it's very interesting how silence has its own workings in this. And the more you say about it, the more you understand how this works. And again, in closing, I will open my eyes again. All of what I'm saying has nothing to do with meditation, because you are simply talking with yourself. You're paying attention to your language. It has nothing to do with your mind. There is no such thing as a mind. There is no inner language. There's language that you have spoken, which you could hear with your own ears. Yeah, and since I make this recording, you can hear it too.